Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. Actually, I'm looking at things and the mic is not moving. So is the mic working? Well, no, it's definitely working there. Can you say something?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. So we'll need everybody to tell us if you're able to hear us with the new mic or not. Do you know if the mic was set up to be?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll test things and see. Welcome to our weekly YouTube Live. I was going to say Facebook Live. We haven't done a Facebook Live in quite a while. So welcome to our weekly YouTube Live, Ask Michael Everything. I'm your host, Michael Sandler, along with
Jessica Lee.
Woohoo! And we have got a brand spanking new, let's see if we can do this, snowball mic so that people can hear us tonight. And we'll see how that works. I've got this angled. I guess I can keep it toward me at the moment and then bring it back towards you as necessary. Does that sound good?
Sure.
So we're going to talk tonight about taking a leap of faith, something we've gotten obscenely good at over time and probably from a lot of painful learnings and lessons over the years, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
Moving right along. All right. Excuse me, got a little cough this evening, which is apparently coming out right now as we've got the change in seasons. First, what do we have? First, we have two housekeeping measures. We have our magical evening routine coming up in just a few weeks. We're releasing an online video program, super affordable, effective. All of my coaching clients know if you want a successful day, if you want a successful week, a successful month, a successful life, it all begins the night before. Get yourself relaxed, get yourself grounded, have a little bit of an evening routine, and perhaps most importantly, get a great night's sleep, and you can be recharged and on fire for the day ahead. So that's what our program's going to do. It's going to help you set yourself up for success in the evening and help you get your best night's sleep ever. So we are super excited about this. And this comes from a former closet insomniac for God knows how many years, who figured out how to sleep, and we're throwing all of this goodness. Everybody, almost everybody can use a better night's sleep. And so that's a big part of our magical evening routine program. Super excited about it. We'll be releasing that in just a couple weeks. I know better than to ask you questions if you're not wanting to say anything. So just maybe blink rapidly if you don't want me to say anything. How's that? just okay. So you do want to say something.
Are you going to be making some more Delta brainwave entrainment music?
Over time, it may require, you're looking at me funny, it may require me investing in a little 17-inch HP laptop. But yes, provided I have the new and improved equipment to do that, yes, I will be making some more Delta Brain and Trainwave music. We do have several pieces already queued up for our program, but we may include more in there. What does a Delta Brainwave entrainment music mean? Boy, that's a mouthful to say. Delta binaural beat brain entrainment music. What that means is I make some soft and soothing music, nature sounds, I put in there water sounds, whatever is relaxing. And then there's a beat in the background. Boop, 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 boop. That goes slower and slower, that your brain gets in sync with, until it takes your brain from a squirrel on crack, I'm really awake, I need to get things done, problem solving mode, through a creative, through the theta brainwave state, going from alpha to theta, all the way down to delta, which is a rest, relax, and sleep. Your nostrils are flaring. Something is definitely up. Do you want to tell me?
I'm just having fun with myself in the chat room.
Oh, okay. I shouldn't know what's going on. So we will be making some Delta brainwave entrainment music. Thank you for saying about the, yes, boop, boop, boop is very, very scientific. It's Delta brainwave state is below or 6 or 7 hertz, somewhere in there. It's a very deep brainwave state. Some of the most advanced meditators get to that state as well, but it is a state where there's no more conscious thought. And so it dramatically helps you to sleep.
Sounds lovely.
Sounds lovely. I am so scared as to what you're actually typing. And
I'm
with
just
my
taking credit for picking out your hoodie.
Yes, everybody. We've got a tit for tat or tet for tat on our better days, which is that many of my clothing she has picked out for me, and I have helped you with a lot of your clothing. Now, I say many of the clothing because I still wear a lot of ratty old running gear, which you don't see on the show. I love my, not so ratty, but I love my running gear, of which you'd like to burn and replace all of it at this point. And sooner or later, I will green light you. You've got to understand, we are the most successful that we've ever been, but we tend to put our funds right back into the show to help grow this, to help reach the largest amount of people possible. So when I have the opportunity of reaching more people or buying new running gear, or for that matter, getting away from my clunker 22-year-old bicycle, I tend to err to the show. But there is only so far I can go with a ratty old running gear before Jessica says we're just burning it. And there's a good reason for that. And not just because it needs to be burned, which is everything has an energy. And so if what you're wearing, it's always can do a reframing, but if what you're wearing has an energy of lack or poverty or something like that, I wouldn't even think of wearing it at that point, but that's when it would have disappeared on me, wouldn't it? You don't have anything to add? I'm covering it quite well for you.
Well, I'm wearing your pants right now.
Okay. What do you want to share about that?
It's not ratty.
No, nothing we have is ratty at this point. Nothing we have. A cult fan, yes, she does wear the pants, the shorts, occasionally the skirts in the family too. All right. With that said, we have our magical evening routine coming out in a couple weeks. If you want to support the show and help Michael get out of his ratty running gear, come on over to patreon.com, patreon.com/InspireNation. Become a Backstage Pass member. Come support the show. We have what appears to be right now with our electronic equipment, every other day Daily Wow videos. We will be upping that. We're actually looking at getting a social media expert. A cult fan, I have looked into running kilts and haven't found anything successful yet at this point. But I am open, particularly after having run in Maui and other places. When it's warm out, less is more. Okay, let's talk about taking a leap of faith. Jessica, did we take a leap of faith about 4.5 months ago?
Yes.
And we've been rewarded here. And it actually, for our friends back east, we send all our love in the world, but it really seems like it was a best decision for us. And the timing was unfortunately perfect. We left North Carolina. Jessica was getting creamed and crushed by the humidity. She had had troubles with mold in the past. We lived in one house in North Carolina, which is probably currently underwater. All seriousness, had mold in it from previous flooding. And we were living in the most beautiful, gorgeous, amazing home that is now surrounded 360 degrees by water, but is thankfully dry. But we realized that Jessica was not going to get healthy on the East Coast, that her health was going down a little bit. And we didn't know. Do you remember talking? You went to a wedding, last October, and you came back, and I knew you went to a wedding in October in Colorado, and I knew before you even came back, I knew before you even left, we'd be moving to Colorado. And yet, when you came back, did we have any idea how we would pull this off?
Nope. We had no idea where in Colorado we were going to move to. And yeah, we had no idea how we were gonna, how any of it was gonna happen.
It seemed crazy, didn't it?
Yeah.
We knew nothing about how we were going to pull it off, what it was going to look like, where the funds were going to come from, how we were going to move a business on top of a home, on top of 3 cats, how we're going to take everything 2,000 plus miles across the country. We had absolutely no idea. And so we just started writing.
Well, I started writing my intention journal.
Yep.
Every day about how I wanted to move to Colorado, how I wanted the perfect town, the perfect house to appear to us. Mm-hmm. It was so vague.
Well, there was a coolness in the vagueness, which is before we moved to North Carolina, we had tried to think our way to the next place. And that was only brain damage, getting out a spreadsheet, looking at different towns, looking at different bodies of water by mountains, and
I think you
thinking our
did
way.
a search for like best lakeside towns or something.
I did.
Yeah. And that got us nowhere.
No. Head serves heart. Heart does not serve head, which means that we were trying to think it out, or we being me was trying to think it out. And taking a leap of faith by dotting your I's and crossing your T's gets you nowhere. And so this time around, you didn't know exactly what you wanted, but you started doing your intention work. In fact, you drew out the coolest layout of a future dream home, retreat center, everything in Colorado, mountains and everything.
Yeah.
And I started doing the same thing. I was doing a lot of visualization work. I was doing an exercise called the Woohoo 8, where I look at your wealth in 8 different categories: health wealth, spiritual wealth, familial and family wealth, financial wealth, most importantly, home and moving wealth, and what it would look like and what it would feel like and how easy it would be, how much flow there would be. And then I started watching videos. Do you remember us watching the videos?
Yeah, we watched videos, whatever each town, and eventually we narrowed it down to the Roaring Fork Valley, which is where we are right now.
And we narrowed it down because
we didn't think it. We didn't do research on it. What happened was a good friend of ours was visiting us in North Carolina, and he had been out to this area, and he started telling us about Glenwood Springs, which is in this valley, and talking about how wonderful it was. So we started looking up Glenwood Springs, and then we thought, well, what's the next town over? And what's the next town over? And everything just sort of opened up organically.
Yeah, and I started watching videos of Glenwood Springs, videos of basalt and aspen, and everywhere I could, so that I could get a feel for it. I didn't want to think this out. I wanted to say, how does this make me feel? So like I saw, drones flying over downtown Aspen, and I had said Aspen, 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 but the drone's over downtown, and I'm kind of going, it felt congested. It felt not quite right. I saw, I don't know, was it a bicycle or a car riding up to Maroon Bells through all the yellow aspen, and I'm like, that feels good. And then I started playing with backdrops for the show. I did one backdrop green screen of Mount Sopris. It was just so peaceful. It turns out that's the mountain right behind us.
Yeah.
I did a backdrop of, I think like Maroon Creek Trail or something like that. That became where we actually hiked last week. And I just wanted to kind of heart feel it out rather than brainstorm it out.
So this is started getting into like intention setting and manifestation. So we'll go there really briefly, but what's coming to mind is it sounds like you're being very open. I mean, at the time you were being very open, but then there's all this talk about how you need to be really specific about what you want. So can you just touch upon that?
Well, it's a balance between the two. First, going back to being open. We had Tosha Silver last week on the show. I believe her video just aired talking about surrendering. And I was surrendering. We were both surrendering to the process in prayer, in dialogue with the universe, you could say, particularly through our automatic writing, saying, I'm open. I don't know best. We don't know best. Help guide us. And so there was that openness. At the same time, yes, we had to get more specific, but we had to do so, props, slowly, very, very slowly. And so what that meant is we came up with a valley. We didn't know exactly where we wanted to go. We pulled back this giant slingshot. We launched you to the valley to go check it out. But at the same time, we're already renting the vehicle. We already have a checkout date. This is why it's a leap of faith. We already have set everything up for Colorado, not knowing specifically where we're going to go, but knowing we're going there. But we were very specific on the feeling. We wanted nature. We wanted spaciousness. We wanted to have things close to us. We did not want to be isolated this time around. We played the total isolation game. We understood what our budget was, what our restrictions were. And really, we wanted that sense of freedom and joy. And I think I said over and over again, in fact, if we pulled out the old manifestation board from Maui, we said trails in our backyard. So we sent you out there with that feeling, with those ideas in mind. And what happened the first trip?
I came back not knowing where we were going to live.
Did you have any more clarity?
Well, I knew I wanted to be in this valley for sure.
Okay, perfect.
The plane landed, I got out, and I felt like I was home.
Mm-hmm. And that's important. So when we talk about a leap of faith, there's an I took an arms control class a long time ago when the US and Russia were still kind of in an arms race. Maybe they are again, I haven't followed. But there was a term, trust but verify, which means, as far as you and I are concerned, which is lead with your heart, but also do your due diligence, do your homework. Don't just pick a place out of Craigslist and go, that's where we're going. And so you came back. I felt confident things would still work out. And what do we do? He sent me back out there again. And this time we were both more specific, and at the same time, we're also more open. So when the specifics weren't seeming to work out and you had other ideas in mind, you're like, Michael, can we expand this search? And I had been in the past, no, here's what I want, here's what I want, here's what I want. What did I say? You go, Pookie. And voila, we found this house. It found us. She's giving me a blank look. So I want to go into some key ideas for a leap of faith. First off, leap of faith does not mean you move quickly. It means that you do your homework. Dive deep on the inside. Listen. Ask questions. Move slowly. But it means that also once you start planning things, pieces come together, often without your intending them. So, for instance, I mentioned this, I believe, last week. When a coaching client comes to me and says, I'm thinking of leaving my job, I tell them it's good that you start working on this right away, because the unspoken message is, chances are you may lose your job in the process. Once you put that energy out there to the universe helps you to take that leap of faith. You could say that it liberates you. In fact, we often need to shed the old to allow in the new. For ourselves, this meant having an ending date for leaving North Carolina, even if we didn't know where we wanted to go. This helped us have the space, have the room to allow something even better in. So what you also, when you're talking about making a leap of faith, it's really growing a muscle. It's growing your courage muscle in a sense. So the more you can take tiny leaps of faith, listening to the universe, listening to your inner wisdom, the more confident, the more self-assured, the more trust you grow in this co-creation between you and the universe. In other words, you can hear more clearly, and it makes it easier to step forward over time. While you're looking at taking a leap of faith, it's really good to dive in and understand about yourself. Ask the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. Why am I doing this? What is the purpose? Where am I headed? All of these questions are incredibly important. Plus, an additional one, am I repeating a pattern? Oftentimes, a leap of faith is confused with jumping ship or jumping from one thing to the next to the next. That's not what a leap of faith is. A leap of faith is feeling something very strongly in your heart, checking in, making sure you're grounded and everything feels right and lines up, and then going for it. Not to be confused from hopping from one place to another, one idea to the next, to the next, to the next, one job to the next, to the next, to the next. That's not a leap of faith. That's being spun. You can avoid being spun by grounding yourself, going for walks, diving into automatic writing, diving into morning pages, and asking yourself, is this a pattern? Why am I doing this? What do I hope will come out of this? Now, I don't recommend going to people who don't really understand you. For instance, a lot of our folks, and we love them very dearly, they want the best for us, but the best may be the most secure thing in the world. Leaps of faith are often not the most secure thing. So that may not be the place to get guidance. But if you have a mentor, go to them. If you have somebody who understands you, go to them. If you have dear friends who are always supportive and on your side, go to them. They will help you know if you are on track, if you're doing something rash versus if you're doing something that's in your best interest. In fact, we have a dear, dear mentor, Marianne, who we went to, and we're discussing this, and along with several others. And it was extremely helpful to have friends that we talked with before we took this leap. So you want to journal. Imagine your future, just what Jessica and I were talking about. So write things out, picture it, dream it, do visualization work just before you go to sleep, and imagine your new future. This will help you to make the leap. It will also help you with clarity. In fact, one of the greatest exercises you can do is pray before you go to bed and ask for clarity for this leap ahead. Ask for a sign, ask for a symbol, ask to be shown something while you sleep or when you wake up so that something pops in your mind. Swing over to Jessica here.
We have a question from Inspiration Files.
Ooh.
Who asks, off the top of your head, can you give us an example of a typical intention journal? I gotta scroll. Scripting entry, please, so we can get an idea of how to word it.
So it's a beautiful question, Inspiration Files. And I'm going to say the wording, I'm going to give you an example, but the wording is not as important as the emotion or the feeling behind it. So there's talk about, do I need to write it down as if it's already happened, or in a way that there's not going to be a lack, or so that it's energetically imbalanced? I'm less concerned about that than the emotion involved. With that said, the way that I like to write things is very present tense with lots and lots of gratitude. Thank you for our new home. Thank you for our freedom. Thank you for this incredible place. Thank you for my ability to go out on the trails right behind the house and to have these amazing, scenic, expansive views, to have the most incredible neighbors, to be able to get to the gym quickly, to the pool quickly, the only thing we haven't been able to find, to be able to get to the grocery store quickly, for everything to work out for our highest good and the highest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I throw lots of a line from Dr. Dane here in there. How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Thank you for our amazing home. Thank you for our amazing, incredible, expansive views of the mountains and being able to hike. And how does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? And just bringing in, as Paige Lee just said, all the positive energy I possibly can. I have an exercise I call the Woohoo 8, because after doing the visualization work, I'm like, woohoo! I'm over the top excited about it. So that's how I write it. Jessica's busy in the chat room right now, but I just want you, do you want to add anything to that on your visualization? No, okay, we're good there. So another thing that you want to do is daily visualization work just while you're going about your life as if you're already there. So I remember thinking to myself, I'm already in Colorado today. What does this look like? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to go hiking? And imagining as I'm driving around in North Carolina, then I'm actually already in Colorado and what that looks like and what that feels like. Now, one of the things that we did is a lot of time walking on the beach together. And we would walk on the beach together to kind of bounce ideas off of each other and to go quiet and to listen. We checked in with nature, we checked in with the earth, and we were really checking in with our hearts. That's where automatic writing comes in. That's where journaling comes in. Before you take these giant leaps of faith, you want to make sure it's not good here in the head, but it's here solid in the heart. If you take the time and you go quiet and you listen into your heart, you will get great guidance. It's okay to have butterflies before taking a leap. It's okay to have fear. That's actually excitement in disguise. But we do want to make sure that you are on track and on path, and that's where you want to tap into your heart. Let's see, what else? I think I had one more thing. Plan, mind map, take control of as many places as you can. So this is going back to the trust but verify. We planned on Colorado. We had everything set up for Colorado. We didn't know where we were going to go, but as much as possible, we tried to have a backup plan. If it's not Roaring Forks, where will we go? What will this look like? We had a loose backup plan. It wasn't very solid, but having that in place actually gives you the courage to leap as well. So as much as you can, dot as many I's, cross as many T's, and then perhaps most importantly, go to prayer. Prayer to your inner wisdom, pray to your guides, pray to God, source, universe, whatever is inside or outside of you that you want to pray to, and surrender and give it up for your highest good and highest good of all. So I try to go to prayer as many times as I can before a bike ride, before I eat, before a live, certainly before a move. Going to prayer gives me courage, gives me strength, and helps me know that I'm on track. So can't recommend it enough. And then go for it. Take that leap. There's perfection. Our mentor once said, and I repeat it very often, done is better than good, or done is better than perfect. Waiting until everything is perfect is analysis by paralysis. It freezes us in our tracks. If instead you take that leap, you say, I've done all that I can. I feel as good about this as I can. I'm going to step forward. Then as Kamal Ravikant, he was on our first show. He's a VC from Silicon Valley, wrote the most amazing book, which is Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. In fact, he's got several others since then. He says the Silicon Valley mantra is jump off the cliff and grow your wings on the way down. At a certain point, that's what you get to do. You've done everything you could. You've checked in with your heart. For this is going to be for your highest good no matter what. What does that mean? It may not have the outcome you desire. It may actually get more uncomfortable in the near term. But if you've done all of your homework and you've checked in with your heart, then something great in the long run, or potentially in the very short run, like the house that we have here, will come up, will manifest for you. So step off the cliff, see the invisible bridge, and walk across it. So that's all I've got here. I want to open it up to a bunch of questions now and see what we've got.
Seamus had asked a question earlier. I'm just scrolling.
Okay.
Michael, when does the digging stop?
Do you know what she means by digging?
I'm not sure it's a she. Excuse me if Seamus is
sorry, Seamus
is a she. But digging never stop looking for answers.
Digging and never stop looking for answers. Well, in life, there's no end to diving in on the inside. I would say that's an exercise that we do on a daily basis. As far as trying to get all the right answers for your next step in life, it's a fine line, but certainly the head can get in the way and cause you to be looking too much for perfection. So you check in as best you can, and then you be willing to let go. It becomes easier to let go over time as you tune in more and more with your higher self, with your inner wisdom. So now at this point, we check in, we listen, we do lots of automatic writing, and we probably step forward sooner than ever before. However, we always try to go slowly. All right, let's see. Jessica had to head out of the room for just a little bit. Let me see if we have a next question in here. Taking a look to see if we have more questions. And see if there are any more questions here. I know we had a question from last week. Okay, inspiration files. No, okay, we got that. And do you recall the question from last week that we had via email? It was from Diana, I believe. We'll take a look, see if there are any more questions. If not, we'll keep this on the short side tonight. Anything else to share about taking a leap? Energetically, do everything that you can to get yourself in the most positive state and place you can before you leap. When you take action from a negative place, from a lower energy place, it is often, though not always, the situation that you make a wrong, in quotes, decision. Now, there really aren't any wrong decisions in life in that you're here to learn. This is the Earth School. You're going to get the lessons. However, you can get the lessons the easy way. You can get the lessons the hard way. When you make decisions out of a place of fear, chances are you're going to get the lessons the hard way. What does this mean? When you're in a place of fear, do what you can to get to a place of gratitude, or in particular, a place of love. It's something we've talked about in a lot of the episodes recently, in a lot of the Ask Michael Anythings, which is doing heart coherence work, doing meditation work, getting yourself out to nature, doing something for somebody else, playing with puppies and kitty cats and potentially babies. It means doing everything you can to raise your vibration up before you make any of the big decisions. This helps you make a decision that feels better. When you're in a low vibration place, it's hard to feel out the next right move. And a lot of what we're talking about here today with feeling things out, that is Sir Meowser's feeling out a box or something on the side. When you're in a lower vibration place, it's hard to feel out the most positive next step to take. As you've listened, if you listen to the show, what you've heard is almost everything, maybe everything, is all about energy. The more you get yourself in a higher vibration state, the more you're going to make a better decision, and the more that leap is going to work out easier for you and help put you in a state of flow. So I want to see if there are any other questions for the evening. So, and Seamus, I must apologize. I from Ireland, and my apologies. Mr. de Boutelier, that's a French pronunciation on an Irish man. I am sure I got that wrong as well, but my heart goes out.
Inspiration Files asks, how do you stop your mind from getting in the way from listening to your heart?
That is an excellent question. Inspiration Files, that is an excellent, excellent question. Part of that is to start doing the inner work, to start meditating, to start quieting the mind, to take yourself out into nature. And part of it is to write out, doing a process like automatic writing or like a morning pages, and asking, is this coming from head? Is this coming from heart? Head often responds from a fear-based place. What about this? What about that? Have you thought about this? Da, 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 da. Kind of in machine gun rapid fire. That's often a sign you're coming from the head. Heart tends to be about the feeling associated with it. This is something you get to cultivate over time, which is why making small leaps at first can be very powerful lessons from which to learn. But you asked really, Inspiration Files, the most important question of all. How do we start to get from fear to love, from head to heart, or to quiet the mind and get more into a heart space? Lots of practices. Highly recommend. We're doing at least 5 to 10 minutes a day, if not 20 minutes a day of meditation. Recommend pauses throughout the day. When you're going, that's a mind operation. Your mind is on overdrive. It's very hard to hear what the heart has to say. Put yourself on top of a mountain, put yourself on the beach, walking by a lake in the fall, or simply in a park. The mind starts to go quiet and you can start to hear the heart better. Another exercise that you can do is literally putting your hands over your heart and asking what the heart has to tell you. And you can certainly do a heart coherence exercise of breathing in and out through the heart. The more that you do that, the more you're able to hear it. And you can breathe into the heart and out from the heart and into the heart and out from the heart, and say, dear heart, inner wisdom, inner self, what do you have to share with me? And then I keep a pen on handy and I would start to write down whatever comes out. That was a beautiful, beautiful question, Inspiration Files. Any other questions that we have today?
Seamus asks, what is your take on the deep-rooted conditioning and your ego and your traditions and deep-rooted fear?
Seamus, that is another beautiful question. And that is something that I've been talking about a lot on the show recently, particularly talking about Don Miguel Ruiz, who's written so many beautiful books like The Four Agreements and his latest, which we interviewed him on, which he was talking about how we are domesticated. Now, an animal becomes domesticated. We have rules for them. We have where they can go to the bathroom, where they can't, where they have to sit, when they have to stay, when they can go, when they can come. Although everything but the litter box, cats seem to throw right out the window, all of that domestication. With that said, we don't realize often the rule sets that are in our heads. And so an important question to be asking yourself is, whose is this? Is this mine? And so if you go, well, I can't go to Colorado because blah, 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 or I can't do that job because I'm not going to make enough money, or I can't do that because that's just dreaming. That's not a good way to go. All of these I can'ts, maybe there's value to them, but you get to ask, whose are they? Where did they come from? How do I have these things? And what would I do if I let go of all of these rules? If I let go of, Don Miguel Ruiz calls it the government of our mind. And he says that you have the president, who's pretty loco, and that's our ego. You have the judiciary that will try you if you don't obey the laws, and Congress, which makes new laws. And he says you've got to wipe out the government and start from scratch and see who you are and allow yourself to learn what is best for you once you let go of that conditioning. Now, for the ego, one of the best questions you can ask is, am I acting from fear or am I acting from love? Another very simple way to consider this is to ask yourself, does this decision make me feel lighter or does it make me feel heavier? Or where do I feel this in my body? If it's a little fluttering in the belly, maybe you still want to step forward. That could just be excitement being masqueraded as fear. Or maybe it's a big kick in the belly, or feeling like you've just put an elephant on your chest. These feelings, there's an inner wisdom to the body, are incredible guidance. Now, I've seen a little bit of talk here about morning pages and automatic writing. To me, automatic writing is what Jessica and I do each and every morning. And that to us is perhaps the single most important way of getting in touch with our inner wisdom, of bypassing the ego and understanding what's for our highest good and the highest good of all. The reason I use that term highest good of and highest good for myself and highest good for all is because we want to be able to step out of our way, to step out of the egoic sense of I need this, I need that, blah, 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 and go to what is really best for me and what is really best for all of us. Do we have any other questions, Jessica?
A cult fan asks, do either of you do work on shadow work regarding Jungian dream work?
So we don't do Shadow work, according to any Jungian terms or according to, we had her sister on shadow work, Debbie Ford's work. But I think we do dive in and look at what's lurking on the inside. This is something that I can speak personally. I've had to do a lot of work with because I was gifted and still work through it to this day with what I call the POS gene, which means that my ego, given half the opportunity, wants to tell me what's wrong with me, what I screwed up, why I'm off track, why I'm failing, even when I'm incredibly successful, even when things are going well. It's one of those deep grooves in the record that is here to teach me some incredibly powerful lessons this lifetime. And so my version of shadow work is to lean into that, not in the most painful moments. The most painful moments, I have to go to tapping, I go to heart coherence, I do whatever I can to calm the nervous system down. But then I go to automatic writing. I do journaling. I ask what's going on. I ask what it's there to teach me. I ask why it keeps coming back. I lean into it. I even feel, where is it coming up in the body and what does it have to teach me? All of the all of these things that we have, quote unquote, negative emotions, bad habits, I'll put that in quotes, anything that on the surface appears to be a negative or appears to be a character flaw is actually one of your greatest teachers in disguise. It is there to teach you. It is there to guide you. We don't want to push it under the surface. We don't want to push it under the rug. We want to bring it up. We want to look at it in the light of day, to explore, to understand it, to put it in a magnifying glass, to scrutinize it, and to see, what is this here to teach me? So I had a rough experience, the start of a hike, actually the last couple hikes. I've had rough experiences after kind of a frenzy of activity, getting the car parked, having the last space on the entire lot, and it set my nervous system on heightened alert. And so one of the things I'm doing before I go on a hike next weekend is I'm diving in to say, what is this here to teach me? What can I learn from this experience? What do I need to do, to learn about, to grow, to experience, to feel, to go through so that I can let go of it? Rather than judging myself and saying, Michael, why didn't you enjoy the beginning of the hike? Why did you bring down Jessica at the beginning of the hike? You're out in the most beautiful place on earth. Why couldn't you just be in the present moment? You've taught everybody all this great stuff. Why are you not up to the challenge? Instead, I'm saying, I'm human, or at least having a human experience. I've got lots of lessons to learn. I will be continuing to learn lessons my whole lifetime. I will lean into this. I will learn from it, and I will help turn it into a positive learning experience.
We just got a donation from Karen's Laughing.
Oh my gosh.
And she has a comment/question I think you can address.
And I can't scroll to it, excuse me, over here. So Karen, thank you so much for your donation. Thank you. You just made our day. All right. And what is her question?
I often hear how important it is to feel or have the emotion to manifest, but can't feel it much.
That's okay. Karen, that is a beautiful question. And that is one of the pitfalls. I don't know if that's the right term. One of the challenges about most of modern language around law of attraction says that you need the positive emotion, or it even goes a step further and it says, well, you manifest everything in your life. Therefore, if you're going through poo, it's your fault. And what I have to say is there's so much more going on. So hogwash, first off. Secondly, I can't believe I'm quoting Tony Robbins, who I do love here. Fake it till you make it. Write things down. Write them down in as much detail, enthusiasm as you can muster, even if that starting point is completely flat. But if you know you want to go to Colorado, but you're like, I want to go to Colorado. I know it'll be exciting. It'll be interesting. I look forward to the trails. Start there. Add some more color to it. I can picture the aspen. I can picture the mountain air and how light it feels, and just start adding and painting to that picture. The more you do it, the more that your emotions will switch. With that said, putting on my coaching hat for a minute, I would say, Karen, we get to dive into emotion code work. We get to dive into tapping work. We get to look at many different techniques and modalities. I'm a big believer in the kitchen sink to see how we can energetically lighten the load or take in the elephant that's on your shoulders, or more realistically, on your chest, and take it off of you so that you can feel your positive emotions again. Chances are you're walled off. You're protecting yourself. I completely get it. I've been walled off and protecting myself too. And unfortunately, in the past, I helped Jessica to be walled off and having to protect herself too. Doing different energy releasing techniques can help you release those energetic patterns and what Dr. Bradley Nelson out of Emotion Code would call heart walls that are keeping us in a monotone state. Now, Jessica knows full well, if my blood sugar drops, which it doesn't much anymore, but it can still happen, or if I get into a fear place, I start to talk a little bit like this. What does that mean? Recognize that emotional state. Feed myself better. Look at tapping. Look at emotion code. Look at automatic writing, and ask myself, what is the wiring in here that gets to be released? What does not serve me? Tapping is usually my go-to first thing. Emotion code is my big picture. Let's do a lot of clearings and take away a lot of the heart walls that are involved there. And then there are so many different techniques at reprogramming the subconscious to get you back on fire, to get you inspired again. If none of these techniques works, go and help somebody. When you help somebody, you step out of your problems. It's like you put on somebody else's uniform and you can't help but feel lighter and feel better. Then when you're in that positive emotional state, quick, run back, grab your journal and start dreaming of the future. Thank you again, Karen. A beautiful question. We send all our love your way.
Inspiration Files asks, what's emotion code?
Emotion code is one of my all-time favorite techniques by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which is a technique to find emotional block, wounds, walls that you put up to protect yourself from traumas that have taken place in the past, typically in your life, but it could even be for your parents' life or your parents' life. We get these energetic blocks that stop us. It can be how we relate to others, how we relate to money, how we relate to our job, how we relate in relationships. If we see patterns of knowing what to do, but we can't do it, or we keep on repeatedly shooting ourselves in the foot, particularly just before the going gets good, then we typically have a stuck emotion inside of us. It could have been being a 3-year-old grabbing a candy and your mom saying, put that down, and you just feeling this shame and embarrassment. It could have been something happening to you 7 years old when you lost something so valuable, or you lost your paper route money, or something happened to you. It can also be huge traumatic events. But to the subconscious, even the smaller events matter, particularly before we're 7 years old. This technique, which guides you through, you use a simple chart to follow to do it, and you do some muscle testing to guide you around in the chart, and then you use a clearing statement, to me is one of the most powerful tools out there for getting you unstuck, for overcoming emotional blocks. And if you feel sad, anxious, or maybe most importantly, depressed, it's been perhaps my number one go-to tool to help lift that gray or black veil that you may be under and switch your energy. Final call for questions. Anything you want me to talk about?
How are we going to make this weekend's hike fun and lighthearted?
If it were me.
It is you.
It is me. I get to the hike a little bit earlier, so we literally don't have the last parking spot again. I would have the envelope filled out for the ranger station. So again, we are not literally the last car. With that said, we were the last car, but if Jessica hadn't gotten us up an hour earlier than planned, because you knew, baby, you knew, and hadn't gotten us out the door half past early. I mean, we left at what, 5 or something?
I wanted to leave at 5.
Maybe we got out at 5:10. We would
We
not.
left at 5:15
Ah,
because you're paranoid that maybe one of the kitties got out of the door,
that's true. It was in the
which
dark.
was ridiculous because you're looking at your feet and you close the door. You're like, do you think maybe Lovebug got out?
All
I was
right.
looking at my feet.
I have a little OCD tendency when it comes to our kitty cats, and I'm okay with that.
I'm like, how could she get out if you're looking at your feet when you close the door? She like flew over your shoulder.
Hey, you never know. Just to be safe. So,
I picture flying kitty. They'll never see me. I'll just jump over him.
here's what I'm going to do. Like you had told me, I'm going to get things ready the night before. So that
I tried. I tried to
you
get
did,
you.
but I was exhausted. I finished coaching at 4:30, 5:30 something, and I was just toast. But I will get things ready, but I will also do a little visualization work. And I want to get to the trails. I know what the number one biggest thing is I get to do. I know what it is.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what it is?
No, but tell them so it's officially on the record, even though it's on the record anyway.
I was in a hurry to get going. And I said, don't eat much right now. You can eat later. Let's get going. And I think that leaving hungry, getting to the trail hungry, starting the hike hungry after parking the car on, oh, wow, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to break everything. There is a sundog going all the way from the sky. You've got to look up what sundog is. It looks like a comet outside, going all the way from the sky, all the way down to the earth. It's connecting heaven and earth. That's a good sign for this weekend. But I will have my food situation under control.
You know, I had sandwiches made already.
Yes, which I ate on the trail.
Yes. After how many miles?
I don't know, maybe 1,500 feet of elevation gain and 4.5 miles
Yes.
later.
Mm-hmm.
I will have that taken care of.
Are you saying you were hangry?
I don't get hangry. I get hung-fused. I'm not angry at anybody or anything. I'm just completely jumbled.
Yeah, I guess you weren't really angry. You were paranoid.
I was very paranoid. I guess I had the munchies and was paranoid.
It like became a race. We couldn't let the hikers behind us pass us.
It just felt wrong. And that was just a hunger situation. It did not feel quite right. And so we'll change that up. So we'll be more prepared. I will visualize. And I really don't mind if any or all hikers pass. I was just flipped upside down backwards. I'm sure what was going on in my mind was saying, I won't eat until I get to XYZ spot. And because of that, I'm like, every person that passes, that's another something. I'm not getting to where I need to go before I can eat. You're giving me that silly Michael look.
Anything else?
I think that about covers it. Doing that with the visualization. And we'll get out. What time would be good to leave, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think they care what time we leave the house.
Okay. We will figure all of that out, but we will step back from it in advance and have that figured out. Now knowing what we have in front of us. Do you know where we're going to hike?
Well, I picked out 2 trails.
All right. Well, there we go. Anything else that you want to ask me about?
Anne wants to know what episode you did with CJ about your move to Colorado. I don't know an easy way to
I don't know which episode that
find
was.
that.
Somewhere in the last 4.5 months on audio, have we been airing them on video? CJ's interviews.
Not recently, but
Oh.
it wouldn't have been recently.
So the first thing I would do is go to the Inspire Nation channel and type in CJ and see if any of the titles bring up the adventure to Colorado.
Can she find it on iTunes?
On iTunes, you can type in, go to Inspire Nation Show on iTunes, and you can type in CJ. And then I would probably look, my guess is June, somewhere May to June would be my guess on iTunes, where to find the CJ interview. Also, every other place that you ingest a podcast, whether that's iHeartRadio or any of the other places as well. All right.
Okay.
Are you excited for the magical evening routine?
I'm still doing the work. So that's where I'm at.
I have the easy job. I record. Then she gets to do something with it. And that's the harder work. So whenever you see a program, or if you've ever participated in one of our programs, while I am the face, the body of the work, and I, in a sense, bow down before you. Okay, that seemed really awkward, didn't it?
I don't mind you bowing down.
Okay.
But yeah, after I finish the work, then I'll be excited.
All right.
It's kind of like, when we were getting ready to move, people are like, "Are you excited about moving to Colorado?" And we'd have like the house a total disaster, and lots of packing to do, lots of cleaning, feeling anxious about driving across the country with the kitty cats. It wasn't an exciting time. It was a nerve-wracking time.
I would agree with that.
I think I got excited when we were in Denver, 3.5 hours away.
Oh God, you were excited in Denver, and I had a 20 some odd foot truck plus a trailer, and I am on small roads trying to figure out how I'm going to get this truck during Friday rush hour traffic into a gas station. That's when I was scared out of my mind. I said, I know it's going to work out. The right gas station is going to appear before me. Just help me, God, universe, source, to not drive over anything or anyone before I get to a gas station. And the right gas station with the lowest price, I think, of like the whole drive, appeared before me with nobody else in the whole gas station.
I know, which is a huge deal, because trying to drive through a small gas station with other cars and you being in a big truck.
Oh my God.
I can't imagine. Thank you for doing that.
You're most welcome. So I have one last thing to add. And this, we're just setting intention right now, which is I want to make a program that's crazy affordable for everybody.
Uh-huh.
Hi.
Hi.
I want to make a program that's crazy affordable for everybody, that we can have like thousands, literally thousands of participants starting in January. And we'll have live classes. We'll have different tools for people to use to help transform people's lives. So I want to know what you want in this program we're going to make coming in January. And my guess is this will be a 52-week program to really help you change your life, to elevate your life, to make great change, to find greater happiness, and to shift all the things we've been talking about. I mean, this show is about raising consciousness, raising your vibration, elevating consciousness, and helping shift humanity to the next level. And I want this program to help you to be able to do each of those things. So I want your comments, your suggestions, what you would like to see in a program coming up January to help change your life. So that's all I've got to add.
Quick question. What's your favorite affirmation that is your go-to no matter what, other than please help me park this truck? Janet's Planet asks.
I send love. I send love. I send love. When I am interviewing somebody, I am continuously saying, I send love, I send love, I send love. When I'm coaching somebody, I'm continuously saying, I send love, I send love. I send love. Any affirmation or mantra is going to have to do with either love or getting me into my heart space. When I'm racing, it's thank you for my staying in my heart space. Thank you for my staying in my heart space. Thank you for my staying in my heart space. It is always related to that. Gratitude is quite commonly in there. Before I could say I love myself, which I've mentioned in many shows, when I first tried telling myself I love myself, I completely spazzed out, broke the mirror in the bathroom, ripped the curtains down, did everything. So I had to start with, thank you for this beautiful day. That was as close to self-love as I could get, going to gratitude.
Mhm.
But gratitude pushes out the negative emotions. It's an awesome place to start. A last thought on affirmations. Affirmations to me, though they have helped tremendously, are the slow way to your subconscious. It's like taking a tiny little pickaxe, like in Shawshank Redemption, and chiseling at the wall for 30 or 40 years. If you instead can put those affirmations into tapping, into a hypnagogic half here, half not here state, into a time when you're using theta brainwave binaural entrainment music and get yourself into a theta brainwave state. If you can do it when you're in the middle of automatic writing or morning pages or one of these states of a deeper level of consciousness, your affirmation is 10x, it's 100x, it's 1000x. It's so much more powerful and helps you rewire your mind or press new grooves in the record much, much more quickly. Anything else? Are we good here?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, we want to send you all our love. Wish you the most beautiful day ahead, the most beautiful week ahead. You can step forward. You can make great change in your life. I recommend you start slowly, slowly. Do the inner work and then take a deep breath and leap. And yes, you will find your wings. That's it from here. This is Michael Sandler and
Jessica Lee?
saying, be well, have a magical, magical day and evening ahead, and above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woo! We love you guys.
Good night, everyone. Good morning to people on the other side of the planet.
You know, we didn't actually have a kitty. We had Lumi here just beforehand. We didn't have a kitty
Cameo.
cameo today for next time.